Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around Fantasy Premier League. My name's Serge.
My name is James.
This week, does it all revolve around Fantasy Premier League? Or this weekend, did it all revolve around Fantasy Premier League? Or did it revolve around a massive virtual turd that's just sitting on the table? I feel like if we could have made that shit emoji and just left it there, that would describe this week.
One of the least memorable fantasy games in history, I would suggest.
Well, this
weekends,
week?
Yeah.
Well, it will be memorable because it'll be the memorable for all the wrong reasons, though. That's the problem, right?
No one's even going to remember this.
You think so?
I mean, you remember games, we won't remember for fantasy reason, I don't think.
Horrible game week for so many people. Ultimately, I don't think the average was that low. I mean, 36 is low, but we had so many game weeks last week where the average was in around 40. So it wasn't massively low, but it was saved by a handful of players. Burnley defenders or Nick Pope in goal. If you had Pope and Mane, then you kind of pretty much made your game week. And the Chelsea double up. Mount and Abraham.
I think Mane, Pope,
Mount and Abraham,
Lundstrom, Martin Kelly were the only ones that hurt my rank, I think.
Yeah.
And I did shit.
Tell everybody your top final score. What did you get? 37, 38?
I finished on 35.
Okay.
For a game week rank of 3.7 million, I had a small drop of around about 100,000 places to 584,000 overall, which in the grand scheme of things is a touch. To hit a score that low at this stage of the season and only drop 100k, it's all right.
Shows how bad it was for everybody else. So you're now 34 points ahead of me, which isn't the most. I felt like it was more, although I've just fallen 5 points further behind. I only had a score of 30 for a game week rank of 4.9. This was possibly the weirdest week to wildcard into. All set, squad looked good. And then, just ended up capitulating into a pile of nothingness. And there were so many AB calls that ended up just being shit. I don't even know where to start. Those 2 goals for Wolves at the end of the game yesterday cost me £1,000. Well, Otamendi was on 9 points with maximum bonus.
Oh, was he on it as well?
He was on maximum bonus.
That's why I never look at that shit.
And Edison was on 5 points. So that was 14 points. I ended up with 1 between the 2 of them. So there's 13 points just gone up in smoke. Riyad Mahrez got into the starting lineup, which is always the first concern with any City player. 59 minutes and 40 seconds gets the curly finger.
That's called most bought in player of the week. What do you
exactly. And that was mental. And I made the decision to leave off KDB because I could with my wild card. And then Callum Wilson and Aubameyang, 2 players that have returned in every single game week. Home tie at Arsenal. Arsenal dodgy at the back. What do they do? Keep a clean sheet. Aubameyang, what does he do? Blank. So even if Edison and Otamendi had managed to keep their clean sheet, 40-something, that would have been a storming game week. But it ended up being miserable at 30. And I dropped outside the 2 million, top 2 million again, 2.04 million, which is whatever it is. But I had 22 points on my bench and 30 on the pitch. McGovern, 9 points. I decided to pick McGovern as only playing 4 million goalkeeper that there was out there. The irony was I put a tweet out thinking about playing McGovern and just benching Alisson because Alisson was knocking on the door.
I saw that, yeah. I didn't mind that as an idea,
I thought it was pretty decent. And then I looked at Edison's next 4 fixtures and I thought, come on, man, you can't be not playing Edison with those 4 fixtures that he had. Obviously, Wolves at home and now they got Palace, Villa, Southampton. I was like, stick with it. If you need to, move away after that. Alisson will still be cheap. McGovern concedes 5 goals and gets 9 points. I mean, you couldn't write this shit, right? And Kelly, who's my 3rd sub with 7 points, can fuck off because I was at the game and that was just fucking kicking the balls if ever there was one.
I mean, in the last 10 minutes alone for me, I lost every clean sheet I had. The 2 Liverpool guys, Trent and Robertson. I kept Matip. I brought Otamendi in for Zinchenko, which when I saw the Man City team, I thought, that is a right touch. I've got this right.
Yeah.
Tom Heaton's ridiculous goal that he let in for Norwich's consolation. So it was 4 clean sheets all gone in the last 10 minutes. He also had Harry Kane somehow blaze over in the last 10 minutes, cutting inside on his left peg as captain. So it's very easy. It could have been a 60-point game week. My only returners were the two Chelsea boys, Mason Mount and Tammy Abraham.
Yeah, mine was
and
Maddison.
Those two alone have got me average.
I had James Maddison and Mason Mount as my only two returners of the week. And nice to see Maddo on the score sheet starting to pick up some points as well. Still very low ownership on James Maddison. I mean, aside from FPL, because I think we can just move on. I think this is one of those game weeks where there's nothing to learn. There's never going to be a...
You can tune out, listeners.
Yeah, there's nothing to learn about the players this week if you look
Lots to learn, mate. Lots to learn.
What?
And one of the things to learn right now is not to fucking rage the shit out of your
exactly.
squad.
So rage transferring is what you would do if something bad happened. But look at the top point scorers in the game. De Bruyne, Aguero, Mane out of the top 5 is the only one that returned. Sterling didn't return. Firmino didn't return. So it's just one of those weeks.
And even a lot of the highly owned guys, your Pookies, your Callum Wilsons. Well, Callum Wilson's not highly owned, but you know what I mean? It's been well backed, particularly within the Twitter community.
Yeah.
Then you throw in your Kanes as well. So, I mean, Mane and Abraham would have been the only two. I think it was the only two from the top 15, I think, captain players who'd returned at the weekend.
Yeah.
That's mad.
Yeah. Ridiculousness.
Mad. So do you want to rage the shit out of your wild card, mate?
Nah. I'm pretty comfortable going into next week. I mean, look at Burnley at home for Leicester. Newcastle at home for Chelsea, Watford at home for you guys, Sheffield United for Aubameyang, Norwich at home for Callum Wilson. Everyone's got decent fixtures next week. Palace away. Palace are always better away than they are at home. So Palace away for City and Man United away for Liverpool. I mean, everybody's got a decent fixture. I would almost go so far as to say Yarmolenko away at Everton's probably got the toughest fixture out of all of my team.
They're 18th.
Exactly, but...
The fuck did that happen?
If you're an Everton fan and feeling depressed, trust me, West Ham have a special talent, and that's doing a favour for teams that are doing really shit by rolling over nicely. So don't worry about it. It will get you out of your rut or give you a kickstart out of your rut next week.
Yeah, I feel like when you're all in the group together where everybody's kind of done... Essentially, the majority of scores this week people are going to be unhappy with, but it's got to be relative to what's happened in the game, and it doesn't seem to be any major rank losses for, in the correspondent league. I think the highest score was about 50 or so.
Yeah, there was only a few people in the 45 to 50
most
bracket.
were in the sort of high 30s, low 40s, okay, doing a bit better than average. But yeah, just bog standard fucking week. And the temptation after that is, I've got it wrong, to rage it out. And it's like Pookie's prime example at the moment for me. So I'm not saying that I wouldn't sell him. And it's more difficult for me because I've got 0 in the bank at the moment. But next 4, Bournemouth, Man United, Brighton, Watford. Didn't we get him in here for a longer term period? Well, because he's blank now in one home game. And everybody's looking at it going, we ain't going to return in away games, even though he did at Anfield on game week 1. So I feel like that's ragey. And because obviously Abraham's at a similar value, Raul Jimenez obviously had a great weekend and he's a darling for a lot of people. The feeling is, I've got to come off Pookie and rage it. I'm like, what are you raging for? Have we not got a bit of value built up in him and just wait through the international break? We know some players are going to pick up injuries and stuff.
The thing I disagree with you there is that when people are looking at individual players, they're looking at the performance of the entire team more than they are maybe necessarily just the individual players. So with Pookie, for example, Norwich they're playing poorly at the moment, and they just had, just the whole team. So with the injuries they've got as well, I just think that people are looking at the bigger picture. With Manchester United, for example, if they were Rashford owners or James owners, the whole team is garbage, for want of a better word. So it's more around the entire team performance than it is maybe any one singular individual. This was a weekend of just everybody, a lot of big clubs fucking up and just being like, we can fuck up more than you can. I mean, where do you start? They did a poll on one of the radio stations about which manager had the worst weekend out of Poch, Pep, Marco Silva and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It's funny, Ole and Poch were quite even, then followed by Pep, and Marco Silva is getting away with it a little bit because some of these larger clubs, in inverted commas, are doing as badly as potentially Everton are, but to slip to 18th in the league.
I didn't even know it was that bad till the sort of table come up after the
It's
United game last night.
It's not good.
I mean, the thing with Everton is as well, we'll talk about them in a bit, but like we all kind of looked at them and looked at the opening fixtures, didn't we? And went, oh, that's nice. I can hold all of them till December.
Yep.
Right, so pick yourselves up or you're about to start walking into those more difficult fixtures. You know, West Ham at home, then Spurs at home, 2 home games. And the way Everton are at the moment could pick up 6 points or 0 points, right?
Yeah.
I think there's an away game in between that, sorry. But such an unpredictability about a team at the moment who are actually very predictable, Everton, in terms of their style, etc. It just won't change. It's like the opposite of Poch. Poch wants to change every 5 minutes. This fella just won't change for nothing.
No. And it's not going well at the moment for them. We've got a nice international break now. I think if there's ever a time you want an international break just to slow you the fuck down, this is it, right?
I never want an international break.
Ever.
Never.
You'd rather get straight back into it.
I'd rather start the season a couple of weeks later, finish it a couple of weeks earlier, and have all the internationals in 1 month.
In the summer.
Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, I think from an FPL point of view right now, a lot of people, if there was a Friday night game, you've now got 4 days to turn around and think about what you're doing. People will be making more rash transfers than the fact that they've got 2 weeks to think about it. And the risk of injuries and stuff whilst people are away on international duty means you hold fire a little bit. And I think that will yield dividends for most people.
And after tonight, the market will be very, very calm. Probably for a good 8 days or so. There will obviously be price changes, but it will be very, very calm. I suggest if you haven't already made your early moves, if that's what you decided to do, that you don't now.
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of people that have already made their moves.
Oh, yeah, there's loads of sold out Pookie out already. How many transfers out for Pookie so far this week?
Out for Pookie. Let's have transfers out in the round. 218,475.
That's a fucking
almost
shitload.
As many people as listen to us week in, week out, mate. Give or take a couple. Salah, 181,000 people already. Kevin De Bruyne, 95,000 to match the 500,000.
Kevin De Bruyne has still not dropped in price.
Yet.
Everybody who's sold him on the idea of, I'm going to buy him back at a cheaper price is shitting themselves.
Do you know what?
The second that yellow flag comes off him.
Yeah, do you know his ownership on Thursday last week before I sold him?
He had a ridiculous amount of transfers.
43.3% owned.
It's about 37 now.
31.3.
That's his ownership now.
31.3%. He's dropped 12%. That's a quarter of his ownership.
And he's still 10.
Value. Yeah, he's got to be going tonight, surely.
Well, you would think so, but
it's Monday when we're recording.
There's certain ones like Dendonka seem to be holding on every day for about 3 weeks, didn't he?
Yeah.
I sold Connor Wickham because he was going down one night, and I think he still hasn't. That was about 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's madness, isn't it?
Yeah, look, in terms of the price rises and price changes, we'd all have a little bit more clarity about it, but we're not going to get it. So that's it. We move on.
Yep, we do indeed. Let's talk about the games. And
starting
run down
with the 3 o'clock
happened.
kickoffs.
No, we will not. We won't talk too much about the early kickoff because we've got our show Tottenham coming at you tomorrow, where James and I go into more detail about Tottenham and West Ham. I did see your tweet saying there'll be more Tot than Ham, but I think I've got plenty to get on my chest as well. But we'll talk about that.
I think there's more to come off mine, mate. I am fucking raging.
What?
Well, I'll do the detail on that massively. Yes, this was the worst performance under Pochettino. It's worse than I didn't know how it could get worse from Colchester to conceding 7 at home to that. This was the worst of the lot. I'm not saying it was the worst performance under Pochettino. There was some shockers in his first season. I'm thinking like Stoke away, lost 3-0, that kind of thing. But that was with players like Vlad Kirikesh and Yunus Kabul and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This is with no excuses, everybody available. There's no excuses.
I mean, when the team lineup was tweeted, there was plenty of tweets going around between you and Ricky about how you'd picked it, and Poch must listen to the show. Because,
we were fucking wrong, weren't we?
You were right in terms of Dyer and what have you playing.
Well, I can see now why Eric Dyer hasn't been playing. And can't fucking move anymore.
Are you still in agreement that Moussa Sissoko is the best right back at Tottenham?
Moussa Sissoko would probably be one of the worst right backs in the league. Yes, he is probably still Tottenham's best right back.
Wow.
That's the situation that
he
we're
did
in
get turned inside out by Connolly in quite a few occasions.
Well, actually, we missed him in the middle of the pitch. But that's systematic of where we're at the moment, that we've got to this stage with this guy who couldn't kick a ball 10 yards 18 months ago. And now, like, you take him out the middle of the pitch and we look shocked because he's the only one who's got the energy and the stamina to get about. Anyway, I'm going to do a massive bit on Tottenham tomorrow. I'm going to line up every single motherfucking one of them and shoot them to pieces, basically. But what I will say on Spurs is, and the Spurs is another good case to come back to rage, because you go through that. I captained Kane at the weekend and you feel like, I've got to get him out, man. Enough. I've got to, and then obviously people have gone on for Son. Perhaps people have gone in for this 3-game period of Son. You think, it's 2 games gone now. All I've got's a pony fucking assist so far.
Yeah.
But it's Watford at home after the break. And the best thing you can do is just settle down, watch it. I suggest you will probably want to be selling Spurs assets after that. 3 days after Watford is a home game against Red Star in the Champions League as well. Suddenly we might have 2 good home wins. I can't see it at the moment. And then you feel different about it. So I would suggest hold Kane and Son at least through the Watford game and assess it afterwards. And probably after that, you probably are selling. Paulo Gazzaniga is fucking shite, but he might be coming into my team.
4.4 million as it stands at the moment, 0.4% ownership.
Hugo confirmed out until at least January. Wish Hugo obviously a speedy recovery because it was a shocker of an injury, mate.
That shit's going to hurt.
Yeah, bad one.
Yeah.
And obviously worse for a goalkeeper than it would be for an outfield player doing that kind 100%. Of injury. So he's going to need to build up his strength, etc. I wouldn't be surprised if Loris didn't play till March. Now in Spurs, we won't buy a backup. On backups, by the way, we've got a couple of kids in the background, Alfie Whiteman, Brandon Austin. If they do happen to find a place in the team because Gazzaniga gets injured, they will be absolutely out of their depth. They are not ready for that. So we've got to rely on Paulo for a little while. He is bog standard, average. He is a decent shot stopper. He's probably, with his feet, not worse than Loris. He's not great, but he'll do the job as an FPL keeper at 4.4, honestly. 0.4% ownership. He will not last at that price for long.
No, because his ownership is like 0.4%.
And I'm not saying break your team to get it in, but one of the questions I've had recently is, when's your Tom Heaton escape route coming, James, in terms of Villa are about to walk into consecutive fixtures with City and Liverpool shortly.
Yeah.
And Gazzaniga is about to offer me the escape route, I think.
With Brighton, we've been talking so long about how their performances are good, when is the results going to come. Finally, it all came together for them and they played well. And they deserved the win. I think when you go ahead, I think the first goal was so important in that match, and to go ahead in the way that they did, they just then kept their foot on the accelerator and went for it, and to go in and win 3-0 was deserved.
No.
You don't think so?
No, 3-0 wasn't a fair score.
I thought
should have been about rubbish. 5 or 6, mate.
Nah.
They were brilliant,
was a good result.
Absolutely outstanding. All the things, I'm pleased for Sam FPLC goal we had on last week. Like everything that, when they played Newcastle the other week and he was like, glaze it over, and I was like, no, I want to talk about them. They're a good side. They look extremely well coached. They changed formation at the weekend, which we didn't see coming. Played 4 at the back. They played Moy and Gross in positions that we just couldn't handle. And up front, they had 2 very lively players. Obviously, Maupay got the first, and the young boy Connolly at 4.5 million. He's the best 4.5 million player in the game at the moment.
Yeah.
Whether he's going to get minutes or not, he's in and around it at the moment. And you imagine that even if he's just used as an impact sub, he'll keep ticking over them ones. And seriously have a look. Like if you've got a Greenwood or a Wickham or someone like that, and you've got no issues in your squad, I would get this fella in. I wouldn't think twice about it. What's his ownership, Serge?
0.8% at the moment.
He won't stay 0.8% for long. That will shoot right up. I expect him to be 4.7 by the end of October, just on the basis of that game from Saturday. He'll be picking up value.
Yeah, it's always easier when people have low ownership that they just go up by a few 100,000 owners and bang, off you go. Brighton's fixtures aren't amazing though necessarily.
No, we kind of highlighted this 4-week run that started with Tottenham, and the next 3 are okay though. Villa away, Everton at home, Norwich at home.
Definitely Everton at home and Norwich.
Now they've kind of got the monkey off the back. I don't think it's coincidental they've won 2 games and won them both 3-0, because they look like the sort of side that once they get in front, they're playing good football and they're confident, and that's kind of, okay, right, we're away playing now. They should have beat Burnley at home a few weeks earlier when Hendrick got the late goal back. My instinct of watching the Newcastle game was that they were going to struggle for goals, but actually Connolly and that are running into areas that are going to cause problems, and he might even stay in that team, and they're all right. Dunk at centre-half was outstanding. Webster's a good player. Burns a good player. Matt Ryan looks like he's really improved this season. Looks a stronger goalkeeper. And he's decent with his feet. Better than I thought he was. They were good all over the park. Brighton. Alzati did a really good job. Dale Stevens just does what he does on the tin. It's simple, gives it to the better players, gets on with it, protects the back four. They're a very good side. They won't be anywhere near going down, Brighton.
No, agree with you on that. Let's talk about Burnley 1 and Everton 0.
Spurs were fucking awful, though.
We've heard you say
just
that.
Just a caveat there. Tomorrow I'm going to let it rip.
Burnley 1, Everton 0. I mean, if you're raging about Spurs is anywhere near the level of raging that some Everton fans have with Marco Silva and what he's doing at the moment, I mean, they have a good squad though, Everton. They bought reasonably well in the summer. I mean, they're going to miss Gay, obviously, because he's such a good player, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's been a very underrated miss. Obviously, Aubameyang came in, got injured straight away. Gomez has had fitness issues. Delph is a mediocre footballer. He's a sideways player. He's exactly what Everton don't really need at the moment. He does a job. Delph will stand out well when they're playing better opposition, is when you'll see the best of him. He's a worker. He's a good tackler. It's not what Everton want in games of football like this. And like I said, you go back to those 8 opening games.
Yeah.
Palace, Watford, Villa, Wolves, Bournemouth, Sheffield United, City, Burnley. That's why we were invested in your Deans and your Sigurdssons and Richarlisons. And a lot of the feedback from the poll this afternoon was the one name that kept coming up was Moise Keane.
Yeah.
And obviously has not done anything yet, not made any impact. But he's a kid, in
consistency
fairness.
of minutes
19.
at that age, I think, is harsh. I'm not going to point any fingers at Moise Keane yet. He's new country, that age. Yeah, forget about it. He's not the one to point the finger at here.
They looked good defensively. Obviously, at the back end of last season, it was a lot of numbers. Obviously, those consecutive clean sheets at home, but they'd had an extensive run of really good defensive performances. Started with 2 clean sheets this season, nothing since. And there's been games where you would have expected them to do that. A little bit sorry for them at the weekend in terms of the red cards probably ultimately had a big effect on the final result. Coleman should have got sent off for the first booking, by the way.
I think so as well.
I think he knew that himself because he suffered a horrific injury for Ireland, which was caused in similar circumstance. And I think even he knew when he did it, it was like, you could see he was properly regretful.
Yeah.
But Everton get basics wrong quite a lot. Like the goal in itself, in the first half, there was an incident where you could see Tarkowski was blocking and Hendrick was coming around the back. And they just don't even smell it. Look back on the second goal, Michael Keane even points at him. Go and fucking deal with it then, mate.
Yeah.
Missing something, Everton. Will struggle to finish top half at the moment. It won't go down. It's not that bad. We've got enough firepower with Richarlison. Sigurdsson's a strange one. You see the Everton guys on Twitter are giving him grief for just doing absolutely nothing at the moment, basically. 1 assist so far this season from a guy when the prices come out, we all went on, we're all having him.
But he's not old enough for his legs to be gone.
I don't think it's a case of that. I think he's struggling for form.
Yeah, so I mean, sometimes there is a point at which players are done for, and it's interesting. One of the things you talked about you put as an option in the people's poll was what age the players peak, and obviously he's past that 25, 26 now. He's 28, 29, something like that. And who knows how old Gylfi is? I tell you who does, Google. But is it that he's peaked?
Well, he might have. It's another conversation I want to kind of have tomorrow about players
30 years
now,
old.
Gylfi, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it is
anything to do with
his
was never
legs.
the quickest player anyway. He's always been a player that's played with his brain. Just think they're really struggling for form at the moment. And the other player, we obviously talked about them missing Gay. Mina is erratic. He really is. And
he would have been better off waiting
missed
till
Zuma. Zuma's not been pulling up any trees for Chelsea, but they've missed that partnership. He'd really built something up with Michael Keane last year.
Yeah.
Dean's delivery bowl accounts has been poor the last few games. So he's still capable of the attacking returns and that. And I think if you sat through this, you're probably still going to be sitting through this with Luca Dean, but expect a price drop coming up, I'd say. On Burnley, just briefly, blanks for Barnes and Wood. You know they're going to keep swapping. But we sat here 4 weeks ago, Suj, and we highlighted them massively, didn't we? And you remember what we said about them points-wise from the 4 games?
Yeah, they needed to get at least 10.
Well,
9.
no, sort of 8.
9.
You fucked this line up, haven't you? But 8 points from 4 is very good for a side like Burnley. They're up to about 7th now. We expected them to have a very good run over the last 4 game weeks, and they have. And they're another side that are good. Just a note on that, actually. Charlie Taylor, 4.2, who well could have made it into our worst FPL selections team that we did earlier, came on for Peters, who got injured at the weekend. I think was carrying the injury from the Coleman challenge right through from the end of the first half into the second half. And Charlie Taylor at 4.2 million, keep your eyes on that, honestly.
He's sitting on the bench in my North team at the moment, and he might prove valuable.
They've got Leicester away and Chelsea at home next, so you're not moving now in any case. But yeah, really keep an eye on that. There's another block of 4 fixtures after that: Sheffield United, West Ham, Watford, Palace, where again you'd expect them to have a good little period.
Yeah, the question is it with Burnley at the moment, where do you go? I think if you're going with Wood or Barnes, you just pick one and stick with it, right? There's no point in trying to chop and find the right one between them.
I would go Wood of the 2. I looked again at I'm keeping an eye on this with Barnes at the moment. Harry Barnes and Ashley Kane.
Yeah.
Could start their own central midfield partnership. I think with how deep Barnes has been in the last few games. I think his average position at the weekend was deeper than Westwood's, I think.
Pope at 4.6. I still think Pope at 4.6 is better value
choice
than Gazaniga at 4.4. More chance of getting a clean sheet with the next 5 or 6 fixtures with Burnley than there is with Spurs, in my opinion.
Thanks for that. Pope's a good choice, isn't he?
There's no doubt about it. He's proved himself to be particularly
If I had to go and buy a player from Burnley now, I'd take a chance on Taylor, I think.
Yeah. Liverpool 2, Leicester 1. Last minute extra.com penalty for Liverpool gets them out of a hole, but the train keeps moving. 8 wins from 8. 24 points. Blah, 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 blah. Everything we've said about Liverpool being Liverpool. I thought Leicester were decent, though, and nice to see Maddison pick me up some points.
This is a message for Mars from the Amigos and Dan, FPL Loco Lord. You're not going to want to hear this, lads. Liverpool winning this league.
I think it's theirs to lose now. Every week that passes, it's more and more likely. Do you know what I thought you were going to say?
You're going to win it anyway.
No. When you said Marzi's name, I thought you were going to start talking either about the fact that he had his birthday at the weekend.
Oh, happy birthday, mate.
Yeah, I saw on Twitter yesterday, I think it was. But so we spend all of about 15 days the same age before my birthday pops up, and I'm older than you again and creeping towards that fucking dirty number. But anyway, I thought you were going to talk about Chowdhury and the tackle. Because a lot of Liverpool fans are raging about this tackle. Yeah. I've seen it. I don't think it was malicious or nasty or dirty to the extent that some people think it is. It was clumsy and stupid.
I think he's intentionally made the foul. I think the actual point where Salah's ankle gets rolled underneath Chowdhury's hamstring or something.
It was his thigh, wasn't it? Almost, yeah.
You've got to be some sort of a don to mean that intentionally. I mean, he's all he's trying to do is just intentionally trip him and foul him, make sure he doesn't get away.
Yeah.
I don't think he meant to do that. He's got isolated and targeted for this because of the Matt Ritchie challenge in the League Cup game a few weeks ago, which was bad. And he got away with that one. He is a... let's say he's very aggressive and robust in his tackles, Chowdhury. People who watch England under 21s in the summer will remember he gave away an absolutely ridiculous penalty. I think it was in the game against France where he dived in and he didn't need to. And he dived in so hard and with such force. It's not he just give the penalty away, he got sent off as well.
Yeah.
And that's something he'll need to curb. But I think Klopp is learned how to play the game a little bit. And instead of talking about did Mane dive after the game, were you worried about the fact it got to the last minute and you weren't winning? People were talking about that challenge after the game because it's fucking Mo Salah.
Yeah, some were. Others...
It's not even really a talking point, mate.
No,
it's just a yellow card and move on. And Salah should be all right for the next game week, by the way.
And the penalty for you, penalty or not penalty?
On Mane, well, it's never going to get overturned once it's given because there is contact.
Yeah, for me, I mean, there's contact. So there's nothing you can do about it. It is a little soft, but there's contact, right?
You gutted if it's given against you. I think.
Of course. I mean, look, we had a VAR goal in the last 2 minutes of the game, and when that happens, yeah, you're really gutted. But
soft.
You've got to go with the right decision. It was a soft penalty, I suppose, but there was contact.
Mane and Salah, like so many other good players, are not immune to taking advantage of a situation. You could say it's clever forward play. He feels the touch and he goes. It's very soft.
If you look back at all the teams that have won titles, even City and the great United teams, over the course of the season, there'll be at least one, if not 2 or 3 games, that they've clawed from the depths of a draw or defeat in the last few minutes. Always happens. All the greatest teams always do it. So whilst Liverpool, have got away with one here by winning in the last few minutes with a penalty, it's what champions do, though, isn't it? Great teams always turn it around.
The only thing I'd say of that is, like, Liverpool had games like this last year as well. Think of the crazy Origi goal against Everton. Obviously, the late Alderweireld own goal when they played us at Anfield, when Lloris should have held Salah's header. So they had a couple of really late wins like this last year as well.
But they're up against City. I mean, City are City, so you don't blame them.
City don't often... Liverpool can hit you from more angles than City. That's probably a big statement to say. What I mean is in terms of delivery into the box, that kind of thing. Like when we highlighted the Norwich game for City in terms of Norwich saying, okay, you're much fucking better than us. If you cross it and you score, you cross it and you score. Like, Mane's good in the air. Firmino's good in the air. The delivery from the 2 fullbacks is incredible. Alexander-Arnold, another 10 crosses at the weekend. Bonus point. What a don.
Yep.
Whereas City can't attack you and hit you like that in the closing minutes of a game. They'll keep playing. They'll keep trying to play through you. Yeah, they're going to win it, mate.
I agree with you on that.
The thing is as well, right now, they're going to play each other in a few weeks and it's at Anfield. And at the moment, you can only see Liverpool destroying them.
Because City are so weak defensively, yes.
Correct.
As soon as Liverpool go at them, I don't think City are going to be able to
City will have to wear them out by retaining the ball. If City try and play a quick, fast-paced game, they'll be in massive trouble. Last year, he went there and he played David Silva in like a number 10 role to kind of nullify and give Liverpool's midfield issues that they wouldn't normally face. And it's interesting that Guardiola's played more of a 4-2-3-1 lately. And I don't know if that's a build-up back to Anfield. Which got too much firepower, Liverpool, as well.
They're looking ominous.
And they've gone through all these games without Alisson and won the lot. And I know there's been some sticky moments. They've still conceded less than anybody. And they've got one of the best goalkeepers in the world about to come back in, which is going to shore them up. Because like, Van Dijk's not playing particularly well at the moment. Not on the standards he set last season. Anyway.
I don't have anything to add. I mean, I think we're just all quietly and slowly resigning ourselves.
Mane or Salah, there's a movement happening now.
Mane, man.
Yeah,
for $1 million cheaper or best part of, there's no question about it.
However, it's another one. I wouldn't rush to move it. If you're on Salah, you're on Salah. I think that's the key. Dan said that when he came on, and he said, like, pick the one, and because it will switch. It will switch. It's Mane's this week. It'll probably be Salah's
next week.
Although I wouldn't. See, the problem with that with Salah is I did kind of jokingly make this comment last week. They go to United, and in spite of how shit they are at the moment, you don't see Salah returning that sort of game.
He can return in any game. He scored in the Champions League last week.
Who would you trust more to return in that game, Salah or Mane?
I don't think I would choose one or more than the other. I think
I'd think more 50-50. Mane. Honestly, I would.
Oh, it depends what positionally as well, how they line up. Whether Mane is coming in off the left, then he's going to be coming up against Wan-Bissaka maybe if Wan-Bissaka's fit. Or I don't know, to be honest. But I'd say 50-50. I wouldn't call one more than the other.
I wouldn't be surprised if they drop Firmino into that area.
Yeah, quite
for that game, actually. We have to talk Leicester a little bit because certainly
top 4 challengers in my opinion,
and a really good side.
Top 4 challengers in my opinion. I'm happy with James Maddison in my squad at the moment. He's going nowhere. I think consistency over the course of the season. He's now returned in 4 out of the 8 game weeks, and he hasn't played in one of them. So 4 out of 7, ticking along nicely. 34 points from 7 games. I'll take that. Yeah,
there's a movement of people getting both Maddison and Mount. There's another team that should do that as well, and it's England should absolutely try and find a way to get both of these two into the team.
Yeah.
Leicester's fixture run now up to when they go to the Etihad in game week 18 is absolutely phenomenal. It's according to the FDR, it's 8 greens out of the next 9. The one that is not a green is Arsenal at home.
That's hardly what you'd consider a red.
They've got an amazing chance, Leicester, to put themselves well clear of sort of Spurs United, at least sort of push them out of it.
Yeah, I agree.
An amazing opportunity.
Did you know? Do you know Norwich are shit away, but they had a home fixture this weekend, so we're all right, aren't we, with our Campwells and Pookies and everything else? I binned all my Norwich assets, just saying, on the wild card.
Yeah, well done. This game kind of summed up the FPL weekend. From surprise, not so much of a surprise that Villa went there and won, but obviously in the manner they did. Obviously, no return for Pookie Cantwell. Cantwell's numbers from the weekend actually noticeably are decent. He still had 4 shots, 2 shots on target. It was probably more, and this is more of a reference for Sky players, I think, and those who might have sneakily taken a chance in FPL. You can't believe that Villa scored 5 and John McGinn wasn't involved.
Yeah.
As well.
You know, the other thing with John McGinn, how we've been bigging him up all season for having not been that bad with his disciplinary record. He got booked as well, didn't he, this time round? So, there's the mockers and the curse that we put on players whenever we do. So, yeah, pretty mental. Villa good value for that victory, though, and it all came together in a good weekend for them.
Yeah, Wesley's XG was off the chart. It was like 2.63, obviously boosted by the fact he had a penalty that he missed as well.
Yeah.
I know Adam Hopcroft, our Villa guy, has been quite consistent I've been quite critical of Wesley, and he's been very much now stay on side, keep an eye on him. I don't know if we look into anything more than this other than the fact that we're playing Norwich. I mean, the 2 goals he scores are so shocking. So poor. I can't see them staying up because I just think defensively, we was joking when we had Mark FPL Badger on the other week saying like, you have to score 3 goals in a game to win one, aren't you?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it looks at the moment. They're not. We said all the same things about Fulham last year. Just not going to have enough, I don't think. And this team's got more firepower than that Fulham team did. But actually, Norwich might even be worse defensively than what Fulham were, possibly.
How did McGovern end up with 9 points, having conceded 5
We
goals?
saved a penalty.
Fantastic.
This is my biggest bugbearer of all. So McGovern got 9 points. What did he get? 2 bonus?
2 bonus, 2 save points because he had 7 saves and a penalty save.
Brilliant. They lost 5-1 and the goalkeeper's got 2 bonus points.
Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous. We had all this it was when Fabianski, I think Fabianski got 11 and they lost 5-0 at Man City and he'd saved the penalty.
Yeah.
He was bubbling. I mean, that's the worst one of the lot. There's way too much value. All right, the penalty save, you get the 5 points or whatever, but you're giving him all that bonus as well. It's and the BPS penalty save is rated way too highly, which is obviously fudging that. Especially when you've got guys like Wesley scored twice.
And an assist.
El Ghazi's the one that I've seen loads of mentions on my timeline.
Hurahan goal and an assist.
On Twitter today. Interestingly, they've changed a little bit, Villa. Not so much in system recently, but we've been playing Jack Grealish a little bit higher. And I wonder if that's just to get them a bit higher up the pitch quicker, where people like... What I've said about Grealish, I said this after you played them, is I wouldn't call him ponderous on the ball, but he plays at his pace.
Yeah.
He wants to dictate a slower tempo, and I think he's capable of more. And he's such a good footballer. I think playing him a bit higher, you might see increased returns in Jack Grealish in the coming weeks. Hurahan's come in as a good footballer, too expensive, 5.7. But El Ghazi, 5.5, now up to 34 FPL points. And quite quietly, 5 attacking returns. That's in 6 starts as well. Admittedly, he came on and scored 1 late on against Everton. But he seems to have nailed favouritism now over Trezeguet and Hotter. And it looks like it's going to be him and Grealish off of Wesley.
Yeah.
And El Ghazi at 5.5 is one definitely to keep an eye on in upcoming weeks. They are about to walk into a pretty bad run, Villa.
Yeah, we did talk about that. They do have one decent fixture, right, coming up.
Is it?
Brighton and Hove Albion depends. I mean, which Brighton and Hove Albion turns up. But then it's pretty tough after that.
Brighton play the same way.
They will, but they have played that way and not ended up getting results. So, and Villa Park's not easy to go to.
Of course it's not. I think it was a big result for Villa because you actually think their opening 8 fixtures were quite kind to them in terms of what they were offered up. They've had Spurs and Arsenal away, but otherwise they've had a run of fixtures where there was 6 games there really where they could have seriously targeted wins in. And obviously if they'd got beat at the weekend and kind of left into the bottom 3. So big win, does a goal difference a world of good as well, and a big confidence boost.
Let's talk about Watford 0, Sheffield United 0. I don't even know what to say or mention about this game. I mean, there's a point and a clean sheet for Watford, so they've got to take that and be happy with that because of how shit it's been up until now and conceding goals. Sheffield United, another away clean sheet. All 3 of their clean sheets this season have come away from home.
It's interesting. Obviously, it's 4 games now, unbeaten away from home. The one I wanted to pick up, I was looking
Sorry, I lied. Palace was a home clean sheet for Sheffield United.
Thank you, sir.
Early in the season. But
the one thing I wanted to pick up on was George Baldock at right wing back. I don't know why it happened in this game, but I was stumbling across stats at half-time at 3:45 on Saturday. I was not in a fucking good place mentally. Thought I'd have a look at some stats from the first half of the 3 o'clock games. And it was incredible how much attacking both teams did down the right-hand side, particularly in the first half of this game. Watford became incredibly bunched to the right, and Sheffield United kept using Baldock as the outlook. Now, I mention it because we've mentioned him a couple of times. He had the assist against Leicester a couple of weeks ago, and they're picking up a sustainable run of clean sheets. Now, Lundstrom now is matching him for price at 4.5. He's only got 9 points more than Baldock.
yeah, there isn't a massive difference between the two.
And Sheffield United's returns on the whole defensively are going to come from good defensive stability rather than these guys getting the attacking returns. We're not suggesting move from Lundstrom to Baldock, for fuck's sake. But Baldock might be an alternative at some point down the line for someone like me, who has chosen not to go with John Lundstrom at the moment. That's all I'm saying.
But why? Because Lundstrom's playing in midfield, so he's got the added benefit of picking up, more chance of picking up attacking returns. Yet if they do keep a clean sheet, he picks up their points as well for them.
Am I saying go and buy Baldock over Lundstrom? No, of course I'm not. No, Lundstrom's playing well. He looks like a powerful player who's going to, at the right time, break into the box. I'm not questioning that at all. I just think I noticed something where all the talk in pre-season Sheffield United was about the left-hand side. And there might be something developing down the right-hand side. That's all I'm saying. No, of course, you go and buy Lundstrom, don't you? But Lundstrom's going to keep going up in price.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, he's at 31% ownership
and at some
now,
point,
so
it might get to the point where you go,
there's a 0.2 in it, 0.3
oh, look
in
at
it.
that. And it's interesting that in spite of Lundstrom, all these other guys at the back, were certainly the ones that have been playing anyway, even Egan, Basham, they've all held in price, all of them.
Yeah.
It's testament to a very good start to the season they've had. We'll be repeating ourselves here. We think they'll stay up.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Watford's more of a problem. They play my team next. So, you know, you say you like to give teams a helping hand. I mean, that will be the end if we don't beat that lot.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have given Newcastle a kickstart to their season and Brighton. You may as well give Watford one as well.
Newcastle, the top 6 killers.
Did you were in a rage and all the rest of it. Did you manage to watch the late kickoff, the West Ham Palace game?
No, I didn't. I didn't watch the game. No, it was PlanetFPL wifey's birthday, wasn't it?
Oh, of course, yeah.
So I took her out for dinner.
Nice.
I didn't
miss much.
I didn't even look at my phone. I knew it was on at the background for about half hour, and then we went out.
Yeah.
And I didn't even look at my phone until full time. It was probably the best bit of my day. I mean, for her, it was the dinner. For me, it was seeing that score. Do you know what the thing is, though? I don't mean this horribly because I'm in no place to say this. But I wasn't surprised when I saw that you'd lost.
Yeah, meaning though, Palace are good away, and they did what Palace do. I'm not going to go so far as to say they played well, but they did what Palace do. And so, yeah, it wasn't overly a surprise. But late kickoff, I don't know, man. The fans, I think, were disappointed with the performance that we put in. And so was I with certain elements of it, but I also don't think it's doom and gloom and shit that the house is falling down and all the rest of it. Because there were a number of players that did put in really good performances as well. The opening 5 minutes of the game kind of dictated. Well, there was a 5 to 10 minute spell at the beginning of the game where we kept the ball for the majority of it. Possession was with us, but as soon as you do, Palace just drop everyone behind the ball. Bank of 4 with a bank of 5 in front, and then one guy floating around, running around, and that's that. Sucked all the space out of it. And we've got one of the widest pitches as well. It just didn't feel like there was any space. And the problem we have is we couldn't break them down. So it was sideways, 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 sideways. Fans get on the players' backs because they're not moving forward, but there's nowhere to go. And you're like, why are we playing so slow? Or why are we going sideways, sideways, sideways? Well, there's nowhere to go, right? Because they've sucked the space out of the game and we're not good enough to break them down. Simple as that. Then Palace, after sort of 10, 15 minutes, came into the game and it was a bit more end-to-end. They had a couple of good chances, cleared off the line. They were all right, but they weren't great. But then neither were we. We had a couple of chances as well. But it was all just very pedestrian. It was one of the slowest moving games ever, and we need to be moving the ball at pace. The goal in the second half was really good, class. It was the first time that we started pinging the ball around, moving at pace, knocking it around.
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
It was a magnificent goal.
You could feel it. It was one of those where it built up, and you were like, this is going to end up in the back of the net just because of the way the momentum of the move happened. And we thought, you know what, now, as soon as it went in, about 55 minutes, we thought, finally, because Palace are going to have to come out, which means there's going to be space for us behind. The shape of the game is going to change now. 4 minutes later or 5 minutes later, the fucking handball. Declan Rice is, I don't know, doing this Phoebe dance or whatever he's doing from Friends.
Unfortunately.
And it got given, and then it's 1-1, and then that last minute VAR, 89 minutes, fucking hell. So...
How long did it... Because I didn't watch the game. How long did it go on for?
3 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, 2 minutes minimum. It was 87 minutes or something like that. The thing is, they scored. So for 10 seconds, maybe 5 seconds, their fans are cheering. Straight away, we see the flag up because the flag was up. Rather than it being called to VAR, the flag went up. So we were all cheering. But then... the whole game had set up as if it was going to carry on. So their players are all in position. Our players are all in position for a goal kick. Wait for about 15, 20 seconds. Then we get told that it's going to VAR. Although, to be honest, we already knew it was going to VAR because why would you have waited that long? Comes up on screen, goal check, VAR. So you're now to 88 minutes, 89 minutes. It's creeping on. The longer it went on, the more...
Was you open for the final whistle?
The longer it went on, the more the fans knew that it was going to be given. Because we're like, they can't be checking for this long if it's not going to get given, not going to get given, not going to get given. No news or nothing, right? Just sitting there waiting. And it comes up to 89 minutes, 89 and a half minutes, and every second feels like forever. And everyone's then like, you know what, if this is given, we're all out of here because what the fuck are we going to wait around for? Even though there was 6 additional minutes. It got given, and then their players go to celebrate, right? So you're all set up as if a goal kick's going to be taken, and all their players start going towards their fans. And now you're waiting for this goal celebration.
And obviously that's a long way beyond the goal.
Well, another 30 seconds for the goal celebration, and then it gets reset for the kickoff. It was probably a solid 3 to 4 minutes of fucking around. And then leaving the ground, it was like given on the BBC app or whatever, given by millimetres. And it was fucking millimetres.
This was legitimately probably the closest one yet. Yeah.
When it was the Spurs one that time, they had a blue line and a red line, and you could kind of see the lines. This was just one yellow line. I couldn't even see where the fucking line was. So it was a fucking kick in the teeth. It was a kick in the teeth. I had a few tweets from people saying, look, that's what happens when you don't respect the opposition. I don't think we didn't respect the opposition. I just think that Palace did as
What
Palace
do people mean by that?
We took it too easy. We thought we were going to roll them over.
No, the Palace are one of the most awkward teams to play against, honestly.
Defensively, they do as they do, and it's a great setup that they have. They're organised, they're well structured, and they get behind the ball, and it's hard to break them down. I can't. That's not a bad thing to do. It's just not very exciting, and we weren't able to break them down. If that penalty hadn't gone in or been given, then I think we'd had a more chance to attack them on the break. And there you go. I thought Palace. There's no standouts from Palace that put their hand up to be selected from an FPL point of view. That's the only thing. Where do you go?
How did Gary Cahill play?
I think he played well. I think he played all right. I think it is an interesting option. I mean, what's he priced at in this? No idea.
4.5.
Yeah, there's other 4.5 options that are better. But I thought he did okay.
Palace defensively is an interesting one to watch out for, with obviously Tompkins, Sacco, Cahill, Kelly. I guess why the two have got the shirt. The more Kelly keeps doing well, the more chance there is of him staying in the team, I guess. I mean, it was a big result for Palace as well, because they now walk into City, Arsenal, Leicester, Chelsea, Liverpool, which are the 5 best teams in this league, actually.
Yeah.
And then comes that amazing run in December. So, yeah, you believe in Kelly on the bench most weeks at the moment anyway. You wouldn't be taking a chance of starting him.
We'll talk about it more on Tottenham, because I feel like it's already had enough airtime.
I think it was a big result for Palace as well, with no Milivojevic as well.
Yeah, I do. And I'd like to talk about Anderson a little bit more tomorrow, because I thought he was our best player on the pitch.
We'll do that if I give you time.
Yeah. Let's talk about Arsenal 1, Bournemouth 0. We still got 4 games to get through. This is like match of the day or something, isn't it? Really? David Luiz, calamity, not resurrecting, but kind of redeeming himself maybe with a goal and a 1-0 to the Arsenal and a 15-point haul from David Luiz.
Such an un-Arsenal type goal, really. They've got much better attacking and defending set pieces under Emery, but it did feel like not the kind of goal I expected when I saw Arsenal had won 1-0.
No. I mean, but they were a bit toothless. I think, I don't know, they did play Ceballos, and he's the guy that's supposed to link up the midfield and the attack. And I thought, you know what, if they have 2 defensive-minded midfielders who play Xhaka and Guendouzi, and then Ceballos can play in front of them, maybe there'll be a bit more link-up. But it wasn't free-flowing, was it? Aubameyang didn't have much service scraps.
No, I mean, the only save Ramsdale made was from one long-range effort from Aubameyang. He did hit the post in injury time, Aubameyang as well, although he was offside, so it would have been disallowed. There's no regret. I don't think you can have regret on going Aubameyang, mate.
I'm sticking with him for as long as this good run of fixtures continues for Arsenal, and they do have a good run of fixtures.
It's sustainable for a while. We all know that they'll get beat at Sheffield United. I told you that as soon as the fixtures was announced for a Monday night. So, yeah, I'd probably be a bit cautious of that one.
I never own Arsenal players. I think it's the same way.
That's the sort of fixture that Arsenal fans, I think, will want to see the change in most.
Yeah.
It's weather's turning. It's going to be a Monday night. It's quite an open stadium. It's going to be a bit cold and windy. And Sheffield United are going to play with intensity, and they're going to play in a style that Arsenal won't have seen yet. And how will they deal with it?
I think I'm going to stick with Aubameyang for now and see what happens. Bournemouth do as Bournemouth does. 1 week good, 1 week average. I mean, Callum Wilson's lost his run of returning in every single game now. The gap between him and Tammy Abraham in price is closing rapidly. Tammy Abraham's now 7.7 and Wilson's still at 7.9.
It's only closing really because Tammy Abraham plays for Chelsea.
No, but Tammy Abraham is scoring goals.
Callum Wilson in the next game week is a captain option.
Okay, so while we're doing that, look at my debt bust team.
Oh, wow.
Callum Wilson's got the armband at the moment.
Wow.
Mainly because I'm like, I can't trust Aubameyang away at...
Do you know what's worrying about that? You will definitely do it now, and he'll definitely get rotated.
Well, Callum Wilson's not going to get rotated. The chances of him getting rotated are very slim.
Yeah, going to bring Fraser back in, put King up front with Solanke.
They've found a way to fit in King and Solanke and Wilson at the moment, and Fraser's nowhere to be seen, and they won't need it. I can't see them making that change for that home tie. Well, a home tie against Norwich, you're going to leave your top goal scorer?
No, I'm only missing.
Not a chance.
No, they wouldn't.
But yeah, Bournemouth, nothing to see here, but definitely next fixture at home to Norwich is looking very, very tasty. What happened to Manchester City and Wolves? You know what happened? I was on Twitter as the game was happening. I had the other game, the Chelsea on the background, but Twitter is where I was focusing my attention for 2 reasons. Clean sheet from City, Aubameyang, score. And then I saw that Traore had scored, and I thought, oh, fuck this, and I can't remember what I was doing. But I went back to Twitter, and then someone had posted a video of the goal, and I thought, oh, that's a good goal from Traore. I didn't realise that the video that I saw literally a couple of minutes later was actually his second goal, not his first goal. Went back to live score, and I was like, oh shit, that's 2-0. Fuck it, hell. And then at that point, I don't know, I just awarded the Premier League title to Liverpool. Something along those lines.
I think a lot of us did. In seriousness, look, there are 30 games to go. Of course, it's not over or anything like that. I just feel like at the moment they've got too many issues, and where you'd look at them and feel like they'll power back.
Yeah.
That they won't. That said, they've lost 2 games this season. There's a theme in both of them. I don't need to tell you what it is.
Kudaba. Kevin is not playing. I don't know if that. I mean, okay, yeah, 2 games.
When you play a side like Wolves, and I did want to talk in Wolves in a bit more detail, but Wolves, you can draw similarities with Wolves and Palace in terms of that sitting in, and actually Wolves do it best of the lot.
Yeah, I would say Wolves are better than Palace at counter-attacking football.
We saw in so many games last year them expose teams on the counter-attack. Even away games, you think they won 3-1 at Wembley. They conceded a very late goal to Arsenal. Should have been out of sight at the Emirates. When they had this fixture last year, I don't know if you remember, it was a Monday night, and City won 3-0, and Wolves had a player sent off after about 15 minutes. And I said to you on the podcast after, I'm really disappointed with that, because I really felt like Wolves are one of the few teams in the league that tactically set up in a way that City really don't like.
Yeah.
For example, you know, in the Sky game, it was a choice for me, Aguero or Aubameyang as captain at the weekend. I went Aubameyang. There was no thoughts for me to go to Aguero personally. And it's another reason why I went on Kane rather than Sterling in FPL. Because it just didn't really overly... You always expect Man City to win, but I just never thought it was going to be that kind of game against Wolves. And De Bruyne attacks you in ways that are unstoppable with his delivery and his aggressive running.
Well, because of the multitude of skills that he has, you don't know how he's going to attack you. If he drives running at you, you're backpedaling. He can just stop and then whip in an unplayable cross like he did for Jesus' goal the other week, right? He's got it all, and he can sometimes take out 2 or 3 players from the game, whereas some other players, when you know what their trick is, might only take up 1 player. But you see De Bruyne coming at you, 2 or 3 players will be distracted or focused on him, and that is the concern there. So yeah, I do agree with you. I think defensively, look, the Everton game the other week, a lot of the Everton fans were making the point, well, look, Norwich did get at City's defence, so we should have made more of an effort, and they can be got at the back. I was like, well, it's City, but I do agree with them now. You can get at City's defence. You have to outscore City. I mean, in this instance, they haven't scored.
But you have
the first
to
time
also be able to defend and soak up pressure. And Everton haven't got players to do that in the way that a Wolves have. Or a Palace, who ironically City play next, interestingly. Should Raheem Sterling owners be concerned?
He's returned in 4 out of 7 games. He's returned in both the England games in the first international break as well. So if you count 2 of those, he's returned in 6 out of 9 games. So 2 out of every 3. The only issue is that he's not returned and not played in 3 home games where you would have really hoped that he would be in amongst the goals, and you've captained him. So it's not whether or not Raheem Sterling will score 200 and something points this season. He will, but it's the reliability, a captaincy, that's causing the question marks in everyone's head. When a player blanks and he's your captain, the pain is way more than when he just blanks.
Is there an argument to go with, say, a combination of, say, De Bruyne, Mahrez and Bernardo for FPL, knowing that probably one of them's going to miss out regularly, and knowing that when you want to captain a City asset, you go with De Bruyne?
And what, vice captain on the other, Mahrez or whoever? Oh, well, you may have other.
You can't really captain players like Mahrez or Bernardo Silva. It's just too much of a risk, and they haven't got the explosiveness of a Sterling or Aguero. 2
out of 3, I would say yes, but I don't know if I'd go all the way and the whole hog with 3. And if I was going to go 3, I might go David Silva instead of Bernardo Silva. I had the option of not having Kevin De Bruyne in my squad last week because I was on wildcard, so it made the choice particularly easy for me, and I did go to Mahrez, knowing that the other side of the international break, I had the money to turn Mahrez into Kevin De Bruyne if I didn't fancy that. Actually, I could turn Son into Kevin De Bruyne. So if I did turn Son into Kevin De Bruyne, then I'd have Kevin De Bruyne and Mahrez.
You'd also have 4 Man City players.
I'd have to sell Edison. I'll get Pope in. Don't worry about that. Or Otamendi.
Gazaniga.
Otamendi is fucking gone, mate, based on his performance. I mean, to be honest with you, I think we'll buy Otamendi in the summer next season and play him with Zabaleta and have the fucking old boys back there.
I think that Guardiola doesn't want Otamendi in that team. But
I agree with you.
But I think at the moment
he's got no fucking choice.
I also don't think he particularly trusts John Stones. But then it's his own fault.
For buying them, yeah.
Well, no, it's his own fault for not replacing Company.
Yeah, that's true. Everyone was talking about Alisson being the biggest mix. I think Laporte could end up being the title deciding injury this season, potentially. I mean, we now see how much he means to them.
Laporte, by the way, don't like it when people run at him either.
But he's just so much better on the ball, and so he gives them
and we have to
continuity of passing.
The problem with Otamendi is he's like a lad on a night out who knows he can get away with cheating on his bird. Like, he'll just keep diving in. He just can't help himself. If he's got away with it once, he'll try it again. He just sees that he's so rash, Otamendi. He's got no... Mustafi's the same. You get players like that. And he just rash and he just want to attack the ball all the time. Jimenez is running at him last night in the game yesterday. And he's just got to jockey him. Because the biggest problem is that you dive in and the ball goes to Traore. Because once it gets to Traore, you ain't catching him. And Otamendi, he just can't help himself. And he's not helping Fernandinho as a footballer either. Because he's playing out of position. Fernandinho is probably their best centre-half. He's a midfield player. They've got issues. And Liverpool's issues is resolving because their goalkeeper's going to be back after the break.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw the Liverpool starting lineup and Henderson had been left on the bench, I was like, okay, a little bit of rotation here. Let's see what happens. They still went on and managed to get the game over the line.
But they've got that area. We kind of think of Liverpool's midfield three as being... Some people perceive it as a weakness because there's not enough goals in them. Listen, when you got that front three and them two fullbacks, you don't fucking need it, right? You got Wijnaldum, Henderson, Fabinho, I think is a wonderful footballer. They're probably the main three. And you got Oxlade-Chamberlain, you got Keita, you got Milner, you got Lallana. We've got shitloads of players to fucking rotate that whenever they want for energy, etc. That midfield three's got to have energy. The two either side of Fabinho have to do an incredible work job. So he probably will, the more that season goes on, will rotate those. I suppose Henderson and Wijnaldum are probably the first choice.
Let's talk about Chelsea.
We got to talk about Wolves.
Okay, let's talk about Wolves. Actually, you're right. To be honest, I'm just conscious of
Bradley Parker.
Of time.
Yeah, we got no cues on this one, and we got a second pod this week, so whatever.
Oh, is it?
Bradley Parker wants you never to call Adama Traore crapid again.
Bradley, I've sent Traore a certificate of graduation from the School of Crapid. He is no longer in the School of Crapid anymore. And there's a consideration. I think the reason he's not particularly for FPL is because he's a midfielder playing as a defender, and that's an out of position that you don't particularly
didn't finish this game as a defender, did he?
No, and look, 2 goals is not going to happen often. I do remember the last time he scored a Premier League goal. I was outside the fucking stadium at West Ham when he did it because I'd had to leave early, which actually we talk about dad dilemmas. But yeah, so he's graduated from the School of Crapid. Traore is out. Jimenez, he's that ex-girlfriend that we're all looking at now, isn't he?
Bradley, Suja's apologised. I can tell you, he's still crapid. However, he's probably one of the most frightening footballers.
He's quick.
He's unstoppable. Yeah. And that's what has been the great frustration about him for years. I've told this story a few times. I saw him for Barcelona's kids at Tottenham in a UEFA Youth League game. Like, unbelievable in terms of how quick. You'd have looked at him that night, you could tell technically he didn't have it, but like you would have thought he could have gone on to like Mbappe levels, honestly. Yeah. Because he was just so rapid. This guy should be sought after by all the top clubs. Honestly, I would have got him at Spurs in the summer. I said this to a few people and people thought I was fucking nuts. And I said, nah, listen, he's got nothing technically, but when you're 1-0 up and you're holding on to a lead, stick him on and put him up front.
Yeah.
Just hoof it to him.
Gives you the out ball.
He's so quick and rapid. And it's nice, actually, that the 2 goals he got showed composure.
The second one I thought was particularly nice finish, bottom corner.
Didn't rush it. He so often gets in positions and rushes his crossing, his shooting. He's getting coached by a very good coach, and that's probably why you're now starting to see the benefits of it. However, I do not think he's an FPL asset until you would see long-term sustained period of him playing in a front three. You are right. He did start this game at wing back. Didn't finish there, but he did start there.
And he has been playing at wing back, starting most games.
So very unusual for him to stay on till the game, till the end as well. But I think that happened a lot because of the fixture, and Wolves smelt a chance, and Jimenez took the opportunity brilliantly to feed him in. And so many are already moving to Jimenez as like a Pookie replacement, and I can understand why. They walk into a brilliant run of fixtures, Wolves, which we never really know if it truly is a good run of fixtures with them, because often they do better in the better fixtures, but they do have a great run of fixtures. And as I said to you on the pod this morning when we were talking about Jimenez and Jota, Southampton at home is a nice fixture for these guys. Yeah. Obviously not Jota, has been injured, but it's a nice fixture for Jimenez. Southampton are not good enough defensively.
No. This Saturday, the evening kickoff, 5:30 game, I took both boys to the match. My missus was going out to a hen do, which was more like a hen dinner, because I think the older you get, the more civilized this shit gets. But anyway, she was out. I was like, fuck it, I'm going to take both of them. So I take my older one normally, he's 7. The younger one's 5.5, right? And I'm not doing it again. Let me just put it out there. I'm not taking both kids. I had my brother and my brother's wife, but they don't sit right next to us. So I had both boys with me, right? So my 5-year-old fucking chats. He chats and he chats. And so throughout the game, he was talking and talking and talking and talking. What's going to happen when you take Harry to a game? This is what I want to know. And he's just constantly talking and won't shut up. And you're just like, shut up. He's like, what's happening now? Dad, why is they playing in white? Who's their mascot? Who's our mascot? Where's our mascot? Oh, it's dark outside now, Dad. Can you see the lights are on? Fucking on and on and on. And I love chatting to the guy.
And he didn't make any comment about the carpet at all.
No. He didn't say anything about that. What do? I'm just like, it's your own child. You don't want him to shut up because you want to have a nice conversation with him, but you want him to shut the fuck up because you're watching a game of football. I think I've come to the conclusion that 7 is a sensible age to start taking a kid to football. 7 or 8.
Well, I've been going every week since I was 6.
Yeah, 6.
But then I didn't have another brother to bounce off.
Yeah, true. Do you know what the problem is as well? 50% of the problem is my own fault. I let them, my brother's fault actually, because he bought fucking pick and mix before I got in there.
Oh, sugar.
That's the other thing is banned. No sugar at the games because they just
I don't want pick and mix.
They always start kicking their legs. They are standing up and down, sitting down. It's not as bad as I make out, but it's bad enough that I want to watch the game of football. So it's like people talking to you through the cinema, right? You don't do it. You don't do it in the cinema. You don't chat through films, do you? You sit and you watch the film. Same for football. So yeah, I'm sorry, Aaron, you're fucking banned. He's done.
Meanwhile, in James's house, when James got home on Saturday night and he saw his son, he remembered that he didn't want to kill himself.
I can't wait. I'm interested. What would you do? Like, what age do you think you're going to take Harry?
Get fucking gagged. I'll take masking tape with me, mate.
Yeah. It's just like talking and talking and talking and talking.
I think mine will get disciplined. I've told you before, 2:30, you need a shit. No, shit anyway.
Yeah, emergency tactical piss, isn't it? That's what you call it, tactical. You're going for a tactical, son. That was, I'm not taking 2 again. Forget about it. It's just a headache. Mainly because of the noise. And then now they can rotate. They save me a few quid as well. Southampton 1, Chelsea 4. Chelsea are fast becoming my
don't say that. Just don't finish that sentence.
I'm glad that I like it when teams bring through youth. And I think Arsenal have got the potential to rival Chelsea for the quality of their youth with the likes of Willock and Nelson and Saka and all that they've got coming through. So yeah, I don't want to finish the sentence, but I do as well. I like seeing Mason Mount and Abraham and now Tamora in. Callum Hudson-Odoi's put his hand up now to be selected as well. And that when you look at the mercenaries and the shit they've had there before, and a lot of clubs have had, even United, who we're going to get onto in a minute, and these mercenaries coming through. Fuck it, play these young kids, and they're English at the end of the day. If they do well and the national team does well and we win the World Cup in 2065 or whatever the fuck it's going to be, it'll be an even number, wouldn't it? So 2066, then so be it. But I
think we'll make it.
They're scoring goals. That's the thing with Chelsea now, right? 4 goals, 2 the other week. 2. They're consistently scoring a lot of goals.
8 different returners here for FPL as well. 4 different scorers and 4 different assisters. No double up at all. That's pretty impressive.
Not a single player. Well, Abraham's the most expensive in the squad at 7.7 million. Pulisic is more, actually. Sorry, scrap that.
So it's a challenge for the listeners there, because I'd be keen to know.
Pulisic, 7.2 now. He's dropped down.
Yeah,
so Abraham's the highest rated.
He's out of favour. Challenge for the listeners, if I may. Can you find me a game where there's been more than 8 returns from the same team and nobody's had a double up? So I'd love to see that. It's a game where there's someone scored 5 and there's been 10 different returners or something.
Yeah.
See if you can find that for me. I'm sure it's definitely out there, but I'd love to see it. They're incredibly good, Chelsea. I think when we had Ricky and Sam on last Thursday, and we asked Sam where we thought Spurs would finish, and bless the kid, he was just being fucking nice, wasn't he? And I said at that point, my instinct was Chelsea will finish 3rd. And I now feel that strongly.
I think Arsenal might sneak it at 3rd.
If they can sort themselves out mildly defensively, I think they'll finish 3rd.
Well, look, Kante came back this game and they were better, I would say. Not perfect, but better.
I said before this run, which started with Brighton at home, it was 6 amazing fixtures, isn't it? Of which we're 2 in. I said that they wouldn't win all 6 and they will have at least a sloppy day where you start questioning them, because there's so much young talent in there, and they'll have a day where someone sits in and it becomes frustrating and stuff. I'm really keen to see if that happens in the next few weeks and how they respond to it. They have a couple of amazing FPL assets there at the moment. If you haven't got at least one of Mount or Abraham, I suggest you sort your life out.
I got Mount, and I'm thinking a double up is now ready and in order. Everybody knows the pros and cons about Mount and Abraham, and the 2 that are now raising their hand as potential considerations we should talk about is Callum Hudson-Odoi, cheaper than Mount. So if you're a player,
it's an alternative. Yeah, if you've
would
come
you
on
go
late
to Mount potentially? 2 games played so far, 2 assists. He's not completed 90 minutes yet, but when he does, he likes to have a shot as well. So he'll be scoring potentially goals.
My advice would be, just to close on that, still go for Mount. One, it's going to cover you while you're not sure. That Hudson-Odoi struck me last year, and he had chances yesterday. I mean, there's one really easy chance which he's let Gunn make quite a straightforward save with his foot in the end. He shouldn't be giving Gunn the opportunity. Mount in that same position, look at how he took his goal.
Yeah.
This kid is flying.
I can't take him seriously, though. He just looks like he should be fucking doing his GCSEs.
He's a terrific footballer.
I can't. When I see him, I'm like the guy on the pitch, head down, and the way he plays, and the face. I'm like, nah, man, you should be doing your GCSEs.
He's got arrogance.
He's got swagger.
But yeah, I was going to say a different kind of arrogance to say James Maddison. James Maddison really rates himself.
But you can tell
I think
his haircut.
Mason Mount really does as well. He doesn't tell anyone.
Nah.
He's a really good footballer. I enjoy
thing
watching
is,
him.
though,
That's the problem. You are right. It's enjoyable to watch them at the moment.
The gap between Mount and Callum Hudson-Odoi is 0.9. It's not long before it's going to be a whole million difference. And so there are going to be plenty of people in the situation where they can't afford one and would rather get the other.
It's absolutely a case to get all 3.
I agree with you.
I'm not joking.
The other one, so if we're talking about Abraham, Mount and Callum Hudson-Odoi, let's put them to one side. Marcus Alonso.
Marcus
Alonso. He's creeping in and around a few conversations now. He's played 4, 2 assists, and a clean sheet in amongst that.
But what's Emerson's status?
I don't know. But if Alonso keeps picking up returns and playing okay, will Emerson get back in? He was flavour of the month, or flavour the optimum choice for Lampard. But Alonso's an experienced player and a good player.
Yeah, and you're right. Would Lampard take the the course and go playing, winning, I'll leave it. I'd look at it more and go, especially with Alonso, obviously they are in the Champions League as well.
Mm-hmm.
They will rotate.
Yeah, 6.1 million though now. Oh, 6.2 million, sorry, dropped in price.
With the top teams who are in the Champions League and that, unless there are clear, obvious, like Robertson and Alexander-Arnold, or say Wan-Bissaka at United, fullbacks are going to get rotated amongst these sides.
Yeah.
You will see it even once Bellerin and Tierney get fit, you're going to know that they're the best two at Arsenal. They're still going to probably get rotated now and again. Now, that right now in Europa League, once they get fit, they won't need to play in Europa League because they're basically already out of the group, right? It's not necessary. But come second half of next season, if they get to like the quarterfinals again and that, it becomes a decision to make, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And with Chelsea, I don't think there's clear daylight with Alonso or Emerson not to believe at any point that rotation wouldn't just constantly be there for both of them unless one of them is unfit. Reece James is fit as well. I know a lot of Chelsea guys, particularly our correspondent rotation FPL, he would like to see James get in the team over Azpilicueta. There's no holding back from them from a fan base now. They want all the kids in together.
Yeah.
We said so many times we thought it might be a bit too much at once. But they're doing well. And while they're flying...
It's not at the moment, right?
While they're flying, just go with it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do like to see that the youth come through together. Talking about teams that have youth that has come together in the past, but is definitely not right now.
You'll win nothing with kids. Is that what you're going to say?
Manchester United. Newcastle 1, Manchester United 0. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job potentially on the line or not, or what, who knows. You've got half of the Twitterverse talking about how it took Sir Alex Ferguson 4 years to build a title-winning side, so how can you judge him after less than a year? And the other half saying this is shit.
We got Solskjaer, Pochettino and Marco Silva all fighting each other down the job centre at the moment.
Well, yeah.
I'll tell you what, the only one to get a job again afterwards is Pochettino, by the way.
The thing is, Poch is chilling, right? As soon as Poch gets let go or decides to leave, Real Madrid will be on the phone, Man United will be on the phone, all the rest of it. You could do a swap with Manchester United, mate, if you want Ole.
Just to clarify, I don't think Pochettino should get sacked. By
he definitely shouldn't, and he also shouldn't leave, which is why I think you should hold on to Spurs assets at the moment.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer might be a different case, and the reason it's a different case is...
The reason it's a different case is because the squad's crap.
Well,
where's the depth?
No,
where's the creative
what's
players?
happened with... See, Pochettino's built up 6 years of grace, right?
Yeah.
As a manager, Solskjaer didn't even build up 6 months. He built up 3 months.
10 games.
Basically, in games where they had an amazing run of fixtures and they had a brilliant December and January. They won at Spurs in the league. They won at Arsenal in the Cup. Everybody thought it was fucking amazing with this counter-attacking style. They're not good enough. And the problem that Solskjaer's now facing is, in spite of obviously the high esteem he's held throughout the club through his playing days, etc., there is a change in the supporters now. You can see that all over Twitter, where we've looked at it sort of after West Ham and that, and we did the pod, who's to blame, that kind of thing. And it's all, yeah, it's Woodward, the Glazers and all that. But there's a lot of fans now who have changed in the last couple of weeks watching this football. No matter who's playing for Manchester United, there's a brand of football you can play. So they've watched the shit that they gave up against you. The Arsenal game was an awful watch. Arsenal didn't deserve to lose by the end of the game. United played well for 2 10-minute spells either side of the half. At Alkmaar, I don't watch Europa League unless my team's in it, but apparently they were fucking awful and it was dreadful. And they were dreadful yesterday. And it never looked like they're going to score at any point. They only look like they're going to score from a set piece if Harry Maguire gets on the end of one. And so that grace that Solskjaer's built up from the own fan base is now going to start changing.
I agree with you. But I don't. The thing for United is I don't see where the change is going to come from.
But the thing is, again, with like Solskjaer, with Pochettino, you feel like it will go one or two ways. Either the players are going to fucking step up and it's going to work out fine, or it's not, and he's going to walk out the door, and by the way, things might not necessarily better whoever walks in the door at Spurs. You and I know, and 90% of the listeners know, Manchester United are not going to do anything incredible with this manager. Just don't see it. When we did that pod about United, we said, like, none of us expect him to be there next year.
But yeah.
So why carry the pain when you know that? Why carry on the pain?
I'm trying to find some positives.
No, I don't particularly want him to get sacked either. Like, because I do feel like there was something
thinking,
enjoyable
where in the
there.
squad is there something that I can cling on to? Like David De Gea has been a good goalkeeper. He's not showing form now, and Harry Maguire's solid centre half. Right in the middle of the pitch, Pogba, but fuck knows where he is right now. Rashford, Martial. I think Pogba, Rashford, Martial, and James as a front four, however they line up, could cause some potential damage for people. But behind that, McTominay? Is he going to be good enough? I don't know.
I like McTominay, actually.
He is their best player against us, but...
I'd make a case that Scott McTominay's their best player now.
Well, is that spine not strong enough if you've got De Gea, Maguire, McTominay, Pogba, Rashford?
I mean, David De Gea, for me, has been ordinary for
more
than a season.
Season and a half,
Honestly.
like I said.
I don't know why he's not getting any grief on the goal yesterday. He don't go anywhere near it. It's a great strike from Matty Longstaff. But he doesn't go anywhere near the corner. 2 years ago, I think he saves that easily.
Yeah.
Something's just not right there.
Let's talk about Newcastle, because what I liked on Twitter was people saying if they want somebody who was at the club under the Ferguson era and knows about that and has got experience in managers, why don't they fucking just take Steve Bruce? And I'm pretty sure most of those tweets were tongue-in-cheek. But you know what, Newcastle...
I'd tell you what, he's pulled a clever trick here, Bruce, actually, because Pochettino did this in the first season with Spurs, but it was really struggling. The fans couldn't really see the identity of what was happening. So you know what he did? He stuck Ryan Mason and Nabil Bentaleb into the middle of the pitch, 2 academy players. They played aggressively and with passion. It wasn't brilliant, but they give their all, and we won a game on a Sunday against Everton, and it was like, okay, I can see the signs now, putting some kids in the team. And Geordie's fucking luck. They die for that shit, don't they?
Yeah.
One of their own and all that.
Yeah.
So he was, if they'd have lost, he wasn't damned, because it's like, okay, I gave the kid a chance, fine. If it turns out this way, it's like everything's forgotten, everything's positive after the game. And it's the sort of result and the way they hung in the game. And they weren't great, Newcastle, to be honest. But the 2 kids in the middle of the pitch will give the crowd there a feeling like they've got some identity back with their team. And that'll buy him some time. I thought Saint Maximin was very good. Tired in the second half. Troubled United. He's crappied.
Yeah.
He's crappied. He'll be crappied. Miguel Almiron. When Miguel Almiron scores for Newcastle, I would go down to the supermarket and stock up on water and shit, and Armageddon's coming. This guy, he just gets him. He does everything right till the point comes in his life that he has to fucking shoot.
You know what? I haven't even looked at what his FPL price is now.
He hasn't scored yet.
I know he hasn't scored, but his price is going to be on the way down, if anything. 5.8 million.
I said this within weeks of the first time I watched him. He always looks like he's going to do something, but at the same time, you know he's going to do nothing. Yeah, an incredible player. I think he's really talented, Almiron. He's got zero composure. They're going to struggle for goals on a genuine.
Yeah.
And that's why they're going to stay in trouble. But that's a really good result for them. It speaks more volumes about Manchester United, unfortunately. Manchild's in the house.
Manchild in the house. Manchild, how many points did you score this week?
Couldn't tell you much price.
No, you did not. Manchild, you have now descended to the bottom of the Correspondence League with 32 points. So this week you did beat me. 382 points. You're only the difference between you and me.
He's had a fucking Seamus Coleman red card as well.
The difference between you and me is the same as the difference between me and James. So there is a chance that you could catch me.
So
you had
is you or James?
He's got Jimenez already.
You had the Jimenez cartel. You have Jimenez because of the Jimenez cartel from Power, I'm assuming, right?
Yes.
There we go. So Manchild has James. Matty James is out. Greenwood's now injured. Mo Salah is captain at the weekend.
Someone else got injured on my team. I swear to God, I'm going to give these guys a talking to. Alright, see you in a bit.
You do that.
Anyone want more beer?
No, I'm fine,
good,
thank
man.
you. I think we've been talking for long enough, and that's been 90 minutes, James. So we've been through all of the games. I think it's important to let people know what else is happening throughout this international break so that they keep tuning in and listening to our shizzle manizzle.
Right, tomorrow, if you were disappointed with my lack of in-depth on Spurs, I'm going very heavy on it tomorrow.
Yeah.
I've pulled no punches. Actually, no, it's wrong. I'm about to pull no punches. I've given them my support for a while, and there's a few who are going to get it in the fucking ear tomorrow. I'm going to let go a bit. Wednesday, we're doing Sky.
Yep.
We all had a shit week, so we're all going to have a fucking laugh at that. Even a lot of the pros had a fucking shocking Sky week. So we'll have a look at that. Thursday, we've got Daron Tinkerman. I'm going to have a little chat. I spoke to him today. We're going to have a look at some bonus points scoring in FPL. We'll catch up on Fulham as well, who are obviously doing really well in the Championship at the moment, although drew with Charlton at the weekend.
They managed to keep a hold of quite a few players, right? And Scotty Parker still gets a lot of love at West Ham to Scotty Parker, so crack on, son.
Friday, no final plan, no games.
Exactly.
So we thought we'd do another podcast. Hence, no Twitter cues today. We're going to pre-record it on Thursday. We are going to do our best, drum roll, Suj, to answer every fucking Twitter question that we send out.
Nah.
I'm going to send a tweet out Thursday morning. You got about 5 hours to respond to it. I might even mute the conversation. We'll record it Thursday. We'll put it out Friday, and it will literally just be a Q&A.
It could be long.
And then Monday, we'll be back again with another People's Poll, and we will be streaming live on YouTube next Monday night, our live stream at the moment,
England.
for Bulgaria against England.
England.
Because we thought it'd make a change.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. We might have to split up the Q&As into a couple of shows if there's that many of them flying through.
I mean, like, if there's over 100 questions, like, I'm sorry,
possible.
It's not fucking happening.
No, we don't want to make it a 2 or 3 hours. We could hold some back to answer during the England game.
Lifestyle.
Yeah, man. And in between that and the weekend, if there's nothing else, or maybe we'll do something a little bit different.
You said I weren't allowed to talk about it.
We're not allowed to talk about it.
Right,
I'm just
so why
saying
are you talking about it?
We might do something a little bit different. People just have to stay tuned. I think if people want to know about everything we're doing, then they have to subscribe on YouTube and Stitcher and SoundCloud and Spotify, wherever. Because otherwise they won't get notifications when we do something different. And I'm not saying we are going to do something different, but we might do something different. So I'm just saying get your notifications on in case
Are you
we do
suggesting
something
that
different.
something might drop next week that we're not telling anyone about?
I might be, and I might not be.
All right, cool.
And on that bombshell, so thank you for listening to the show. Do stay tuned for all of the content we have, even today's podcast that we put out earlier for the People's Poll, which was about picking the worst 15 of the season so far, was a really good listen. I'm not saying listen, a really good record, but I'm sure it was. Yeah, listen, it was a really good listen. So do listen back to that as well. It's a nice short half an hour show that we put out there. Other than that, thank you for everything. Ciao for now.
Cue music, man, child.
The Fantasy Football Show.